Gitika, you have almost stolen the sentence I wanted to tell. Rajdeep is equal to elections in India, whether from studio or from the ground. And that's how he seamlessly travels the ground to the studio. Often we find large number of anchors never going to the studio, but having the last word on elections, which Rajdeep normally avoids. And that's a great sort of a comfort for we the viewers, discerning viewers across the nation. Rajdeep, you had covered 2014 and 2019 elections, and you have come out with a book on each occasion. Today, 2020 and onward, let's say 21 as well, is a very, very qualitatively different situation because of the pandemic, and this being the worst pandemic in the last 1 century. How do you look at electioneering 2019 and 2020 compared? The highlight of 2020 is obviously Bihar election, and 21 we look forward to 5 states election. How would you look forward to that? But before that, how does 19 election compare with the 20 Bihar election? Over to you, Rajdeep.
Thank you very much, Professor Chaudhary, and thank you very much for having me at this event. Let me be candid and say elections are also an event today.
Right.
You know, they are perhaps the event to beat all events. And I jokingly once said that if Narendra Modi ji was not Prime Minister, he would be India's event manager extraordinaire. Because one of the things that he has done successfully is converted elections into spectacles. And he did that in the 2019 election. If you look at the manner, for example, in which Mr. Modi filed his nomination for Varanasi. You know, traditional ways of nomination, you would have some kind of a road show. But it would be largely confined to you and your party men. What Mr. Modi did was that he got the entire NDA there. He got the entire Varanasi town virtually there. It was converted into a live event that was live streamed on web, on all the BJP channels, on the Namo channel, on all the websites that the BJP and its allies have, on Facebook, on with minute-to-minute updates on Twitter. As a result, the roadshow became a spectacle. Now, I think one of the things we saw in 2019 was Mr. Modi, and previously in 2014, where Mr. Modi once came on a hologram. You know, he came and addressed large gatherings in Uttarakhand, not while doing a rally in Uttarakhand, but by sitting in the BJP office in Ahmedabad, and then by a hologram he appeared before the audience. Now, no one had ever seen, it almost seemed like a Star Wars spectacle. So Mr. Modi has been able to master the art of the spectacle, which is very important today in election, because it can shock and awe and dazzle audiences. And you saw a lot of that both in 2014 and 19. By contrast, in 2020, and you see it even in Mr. Modi's campaign in Bihar, that while he was able to address rallies, the rallies were necessarily constrained at times by pandemic rules. So A, he could not address the number of rallies that he would normally do. B, the rallies could not have the kind of, although no social distancing at times was observed, it still wasn't the kind of mega rallies that Mr. Modi was used to in 2019. So I think what has happened in our politics as a result of the pandemic is that you can't use the Maidan alone, the election Maidan alone, to do your events. The necessity now is to perhaps move to virtual, to connect with millions of your followers through Facebook, through Instagram, and thereby almost change the rules of the game. 20 years ago, the rules were very clear. You staged the large rally at Boat Club. From the Maidan, it came to a television screen near you. From a television screen near you, now it's come to mobile. I mean, if today in the elections of 2020, or indeed even in 21, if I want to hear my leader, or I want to hear a leader, I won't hear them on TV anymore. There's no appointment viewing that 2 o'clock Mr. Modi will have a rally. I must come before my TV set. I can just hear the rally live. I can watch the rally live on my mobile. So I think from Maidan to TV media to mobile near you, that's how the transition has taken place.
Are we moving from political meetings-based communication to digital and door-to-door communication? And if so, where is this spectacle of events going? What would the event managers do in that case?
No, Ujjwal, look, door-to-door campaigning was practiced in the age of the Maidan.
Right.
right? Today, I don't even need to do door-to-door campaigning. Today, it's WhatsApp. I invest much more in connecting people through WhatsApp groups than I need to invest even at times in door-to-door campaigning. Yes, the physical aspect is important. You cannot ignore it, but it is not the only weapon you have. Today, for example, in Bengal, where elections are taking place in April, May, there are about 80,000 polling booths. The BJP already has almost 80,000 WhatsApp groups created, one for every booth. Now, that is the level of micromanagement that you can do in terms of your messaging. We are in the age of micro messaging. In some way, you could argue that was even done in the age of door-to-door campaigning. I went to each person, gave him a leaflet, explained to him, had a physical contact. The physical intimacy may be missing at times, but I am creating through WhatsApp a sense of community. So I think the future is to create WhatsApp communities. For an event manager, how do I participate? I think what if an event manager, for example, connected all the WhatsApp groups of a particular political party, either through a conclave, which was virtually done because of the age of the pandemic, ensured that there was enough of communication to each of those groups, and then built a community. You see, we are in the age of community building. Then whether it's a political community or a community of events managers, whether it's a community of professors, you're into community building. The event manager's role is, how do I solidify this community building aspect? Can I bring together all the volunteers of the BJP and stage an event, let's say for the Bengal elections of April, May, or indeed of the Trinamool Congress, where they are all able to in some way interact with each other? The physical aspect may be missing, but you can connect them all today. So the event will now have to move virtual. There's no doubt in my mind. This is the age of virtual.
Appreciate that is the need of the hour, particularly physical distancing. I don't want to use the word social distancing. In times of physical distancing, that's natural. But isn't it sometimes taking away that spirit of elections because of the absence of physical touch? And do we go to a blended mode rather? What you are saying is natural, normal, and is already being attempted, if not successfully, but in various levels of success among parties. But are we also blending the physical with the digital? And if the blended way has to come, what is the right nature of the blended way in electioneering ahead?
I like your use of the word blended, because there is no way that it can be either or.
Right.
You need, today Mamata Banerjee is going to every district of Bengal physically, addressing rallies. Whether physical distancing is being practiced at the rally is a big question, but she needs that. She is not the kind of leader, for example, who will be able to communicate or connect virtually. She needs to be on the ground, but her backroom and strategists need to be. You see, at the end of the day, how do I amplify my messaging?
Right.
The physical aspect in terms of actually being present at a venue or staging an event or a rally is necessary to create a instant connect with the audience.
Right.
But when I want to amplify the message to a wider constituency, many of whom may not be present at a rally, many of whom may not be able to attend a rally, I need to create a multimedia option. This is the age of multimedia. I need to ensure that my voice is not limited to those who physically want to come and see me or touch my hands or watch me perform in a way. I need to create the multimedia noise. This is the age of multimedia noise. So I need to have my Instagram game in place. I need to have my entire social media game in place. Facebook, Twitter, shared chat on every possible. I need to have my messenger service, the WhatsApp in particular. I believe WhatsApp is the real weapon now of electioneering, because unless you are able to create these large WhatsApp groups, how are you going to be able to connect in real time millions of people? That is a cutting edge. And that, to my mind, is something which the leader can't do. The leader has to be physically present. And I believe you have to invest 40 to 50% of your efforts in ensuring that that connection is there. But you have to also ensure 50% that the back room is in place. And I believe that's where the event managers can actually help in bringing the blend of the two together. So when you're staging a rally, you're also ensuring the back room is in place.
Great. So do you then suggest a retraining of the event ecosystem professionals? Because this training, they have been very good sound, in organizing large gatherings. Now, in the era of fidget events, physical plus digital events or blended events, do you suggest a training of the human resource involved in the experiential marketing or events industry? What sort of retraining, if so?
Well, I think the basic retraining is to use the word, I think you use phygital.
Right, right.
Is that you will need people today who can combine the expertise of being able to stage a physical event, but also managing the back room.
Right.
Today, the experiential event manager will have to ensure that the multimedia world is we are in a hyper connected age. And that hyper connectivity will have to be achieved by the back room of any political campaign. To my mind, the BJP is cutting edge at times over their political rivals who are slowly catching up. Is their ability to ensure that has been their skill in building this multimedia team. So I think multimedia skills is critical. It's not about, can you get my leader that his 5 minutes or her 5 minutes of fame on TV? It's how is it that I am able to create an interactive element, make my leader more accessible on Facebook, for example, by doing Facebook Lives. How do I do Insta Lives? How do I even go with videos, short videos, which are made available when TikTok, for example, was around? How do I create TikTok videos? So I think, you have to create the aim of an experiential, of an event manager today is how do I create maximum noise using every media weapon that is available in my hand. And politics is no different. Politics cannot only be fought on the Maidan anymore.
2021 had 5 important elections, at least 4 of the major states of India. So what exactly are you looking at 2021 from the point of view of campaign messaging and campaign tools and processes?
Look, the 5 big elections of 2021, and if you add Puducherry also to it, is in April, May. It's in peak summer. You will not have the vaccination systems across the country in place by April, May. So rules of social distancing and of the COVID protocol, in my view, will still be in place. Therefore, these elections too, in my mind, much like the Bihar election, will have to involve, to use your word, the blend of the physical and the digital. And given the kind of campaign that we are already witnessing in Bengal, which is going to be one of the most polarized campaigns, I think, in the history of this country, let me be honest that you will need different techniques for different voters. If you're going deep into rural Bengal, you will need the physical connect with the voters. If you are focusing on the Kolkata voter, you can resort much more to the digital game, creating these kind of WhatsApp groups for the big cities of Bengal. And the same thing for a Tamil Nadu. Kerala, interestingly, is a much more compact state. So in Kerala, you can effectively reach larger number of people in a shorter period of time. But in a sprawling state like Tamil Nadu or Bengal, you will need the blend of physical and digital at all times. So while your leader will go physically constituency by constituency, especially someone like a Mamata Banerjee, the back room will have to make sure that the noise that is being made is amplified across the media. And I think, therefore, we are increasingly, as I said, in a media 360 age. So in a media 360 age, politics has to play by the rules of media 360 and make elections, I want to use the word very consciously, presidential. You see, elections are now, and that's also we saw in 2019, about Modi versus who? That's how the BJP pitched it. And I can see that in Bengal happening.
Mamata versus who? Mamata versus
who?
So,
much of the communication you will see from the Trinamool side will be around that. Yes. While the BJP plays on anti-incumbency. So therefore, the messaging will increasingly focus on individuals and continues to. I mean, it's already been the pattern in the last few elections in different parts of the country, but that is becoming much more important than ever before.
Right. Great. But then there is, level of awareness and level of education very different. Let's say from Kerala, which is fully literate and reasonably highly educated, to Assam or Bengal, which can be at different levels. So how does this consumer awareness, because if I can call the voters as consumers of elections, unfortunately, but anyway, so how does voters awareness affect the chosen methods of communication or campaign?
Look, I think it's not just looking at levels of education, it's also looking at levels of internet penetration.
Right.
Kerala, for example, is a very high internet penetration state, along with high levels of education, very compact. And therefore, the messaging can be done a little bit more easily than in Bengal. In Bengal, you need multiple messaging. What is very clear is the regionalization. I increasingly make the point that whatever you do now has to be really amplified in the regional languages. We are finding, I was at the farmers' protest yesterday. Most of the farmers were consuming social media through Punjabi videos.
Right.
Videos in their local language with a local connect, many of them with song, with poetry, with satire. You see, you're using, you're in a way, I come back to it, creating a community. The challenge of our times is how do you create the largest possible communities at election time? A Trinamool community or a BJP community, wherein people feel the need to, people are able to create a kind of some kind of a bond with the party or an individual. How do you cement that? That can, according to me, does not require high levels of literacy, as much as it requires intelligent targeting at a micro level. Perfect. How do I target in Kuch Bihar's villages? Right. Voters out there, to my mind, if internet penetration is not high, then the challenge becomes to move to door-to-door campaigning. So it's not an either or, but you will have to create massive, the outreach has to be far more sophisticated than it used to be in the past.
Far more sophisticated, far most localized, as you said. Hyper localized, not just Kuch Bihar, even Jalangi or Jalapahar, going even to Mahkuma level, block level and all that.
Yes.
And that's really interesting. In this whole discourse on Bengal, even when we also spoke, we only talked about the Trinamool and the BJP. I just wonder where have CPM Congress together have gone? We are not even
look at, the CPM in particular is an example of the old world, the pre-internet age. Right. They were effective communicators when you could mobilize groups on the ground. Right. They were masters of the Maidan age. Right. They struggled with the TV age, and they certainly have found it even much more difficult to build a social media community. This is a younger India. Right. You see, one of the things we miss speaking is the younger demographic also. So it's not about educated, uneducated, metro versus rural India. The big challenge of our time, and that's where WhatsApp is playing a huge role, or Facebook is playing a huge role, is building communities around the youthful demographic of the country. And that is where I think, again, they are the ones also who get they are the ones who are looking in a way to be part of these larger communities on the web. The rural audiences get caught in shock and awe and this spectacle. With Mr. Modi, someone comes in a hologram, helicopter aa gaya, Udan Khatola aa gaya. That is still there. You still need leaders to go in the Udan Khatola you can't ignore that. That also creates an excitement. Right. But eventually the micro messaging has to be through technology, in my view.
Very well said. Our time is almost up. Your last 3 bullet point suggestions for people in the events industry. What should they be looking at in 2021? Events and experiential marketing industry.
In the context of elections?
Elections, political.
In the context of elections, how can you build messaging around high-profile individuals? They could be high-profile candidates, could be high-profile chief minister candidates, or they could be your local leaders. You see, if you localize and you can create campaigns for individuals, not just today, even individuals want the social media team backing them. So can you do that? Can you localize? So hyper-localization, one challenge. Number 2, effective regionalization. Right. You will have to create regional models. The Kerala model will have to differ from the Bengal model. And third, in the age of this, what you call, phygital, can you create conclaves? Right. Then you are able to connect and create communities using a multimedia experience to bring people together. So at the end of the day, I liked your use of the word consumer for voters, because voters are consumers in a way. So the
Yeah.
same rules that apply to consumers need to apply for voters. You're going to have to create bonds, a certain sense of a connect, deep connect with that voter.
I just wonder how we spend the last 30 minutes. It just finished in a jiffy rather. And if I can, in few seconds, summarize what the newsman of India has just now talked about: electioneering in the new age post-pandemic. One, hyper connectivity. That's the message, the mantra. Second, endure experientiality through campaigns, which brings the physical and the digital together, which I call physical. And three, blended campaigns, the same thing extended, blended campaigns down to the booth level with WhatsApp groups. Four, internet penetration, very important. So you made a contrast between, for example, Kerala and Assam. So internet penetration would make messaging different status. Regionalization of languages and bringing in humor, memes, songs, and everything through the local languages to drive home the message. And finally, Maidan age to building community, the age of building community digitally and physically. That's the message from Rajdeep Sardesai. Thank you very much. We bring this 30 minutes to an end. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Professor. It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to your next interaction in March.
Look forward to it. I look forward
you.
to it. Thank you so much. Thank you.